name is Törne. I'm a senior lecturer in Satakunta University of Applied Sciences.
Hello, my name is Marika Kiviluoma-Ylitalo, and I am physiotherapy teacher and clinical practice coordinator in Satakunta University of Applied Sciences.
We are here to present you our physiotherapy degree program's clinical practice protocol from a teacher's perspective. We have created in our degree program a handbook for physiotherapy practice. The handbook gives guides the process, clinical practice process, and it is shared with clinical educators and students in addition to teachers.
How the clinical practices are in curricula? Actually, there is no practices during the first study year. The first clinical practice is in third semester, which is 8 credits, orientation to physiotherapy. Next practices are in fourth and fifth semester, 8 credits, basic practice 1 and 2. During the sixth semester, there is longer 15 credits, clinical practice abroad. Longer practice makes possible to go Erasmus exchange program, and it is included to curricula. The last practice is 6 credits advanced clinical practice. At the beginning in the practices, goals are easier and they gradually getting more demanding. For example, from physiotherapy process point of view, in the first practice, is enough if the student is able to implement physiotherapy together with clinical educator or just shadowing. And in contrast, in the last practice, student should show that is able to work independently.
Our students do their clinical practice in different environments. They can work in a public sector, for example, in hospitals, health center, or outpatient clinics. In private sector, they can work in clinics, private clinics. In a third sector, our students have done clinical practice in sports teams and also in associations. We have one example of an association, Porin Sininauha, which is an association working for mental health issues. One clinical practice our students will do in Soteke Service Center. And a new clinical practice placement is in our university. They can do their clinical practice in welfare technology area. Our students also do clinical practice in different areas of physiotherapy. They will cover in their clinical practice at least musculoskeletal, neurological, cardiopulmonary, and geriatric physiotherapy. In addition to that, they can choose one interesting area, for example, pediatric, psychosomatic, or sports physiotherapy, or something else that they find interesting.
Process of physiotherapy practice in SAMK. The process starts to arrange the placement. After that, there is need to do agreement between practice placement and university. In the school, we have practice info to students who are starting practice. After that starts the practice, and right after practice there is a reflection day in the school. Process ends when teacher documenting the final evaluation. arranging clinical practice placements. An electronic system for reserving placements called Jobili. This system is common for all universities of applied sciences in Finland, and this system is especially for social and healthcare students. The system makes possible common application times throughout Finland. Usually application periods are twice a year, one in spring and one in fall. If student is going to abroad, arranging placement goes through international office of SAMK.
Before the student goes to clinical practice, the agreement is done. The agreement is done between SAMK and the placement, and in the agreement we agree about the responsibilities of different parties, and also the insurance becomes valid. The students will pre-fill the agreement form that you can see on the right-hand side, and after that there will be a signature round. It will be signed by student, clinical educator in the placement, and also by clinical practice coordinator. Before the clinical practice, there is also clinical practice info. It is 2 weeks before the first clinical practice. For the next clinical practices, the students are reading through the material independently. They have a Moodle platform that you can see on the right-hand side, an example of a Moodle platform, and the clinical practice info material will be uploaded there. There is also other material that they need during their clinical practice available. Also, the students can find all the forms they need in practice. And students will upload all the assignments they are ought to do during the clinical practice to the forum set in Moodle.
Clinical practice implementation. During the clinical practice implementation, when student is in field, there is 2 times when teacher is in contact with student. First, there is students' goals for practice. Actually, after the first practice week, student return the goals to Moodle platform. Teacher gives feedback and comments in written form in Moodle. Second contact is related to evaluation. There is organized discussion between student, clinical educator, and teacher. The discussion is implemented by using video conference applications. And we have created general competencies and more profession-specific competencies and evaluation of student based on that criteria. Reflection. Reflection of practice has organized in the school, and there is teacher and students. Teacher is leading this discussion. Students do physiotherapy process description, written task during the practice. They need to pick up one client and description based on that case. In reflection, they have prepared to present the case to the others. They have also opportunity to debriefing and give feedback. We have feedback system called Tudo. Also, students can use it by mobile phones.
The final part is the evaluation. All the parts needs to be completed before the student can get the credits. They need to fill in the time log you can see on the screen. So all the working hours they have completed during the clinical practice. The evaluation form you can see on the right-hand side will be filled by clinical educator, student, and supervising teacher. It is based on the competencies listed here. They have to complete the process description, and they also have to participate to reflection.
Annual meetings with clinical educators. We are inviting clinical educators to meeting in university twice a year. This meeting is very important, how we are doing ongoing collaboration to develop the practice process together. Meetings have also educational part, and in previous years, in meetings we have had, for example, lectures concerning burnout and physiotherapy and welfare technology in physiotherapy. And then how future looks like. I take part to a national network which is producing school physiotherapy guidelines and criteria for failed clinical practices. We have also just published quality recommendations for clinical practice in healthcare education, and we are working how to apply those recommendations in our own university.
And I have participated and will participate next year in Healing for All project. And it is about assuring quality in international healthcare traineeship. Thank you for your interest listening us.
Thank you.